Well, guys.
Happy back together. Cheers.
Happy
I don't even
back
know what
together.
this is. We can talk about it in a second.
Yeah, we will. Cheers. There it is.
Wait, we usually start out with someone's got to do a toast.
Brian's got to do it.
Oh, yeah, the toast.
Jesus. On the spot. Actually, this is a toast to our benefactor. I shouldn't say benefactors. I paid for them. But Nashville Barrel Company. Well done. Great experience and great whiskey, as we're about to find out today. But cheers to you guys.
Cheers. Now we click.
Now we can go.
Oh, yeah. Now we click.
We got to get a shorter table, maybe a round one or something.
Ooh. Or what we do is we bring the fire pit in because we're at that stage of life.
It is that stage of the year. There's a comet in the sky, and the leaves are turning. And
so I'll talk.
You started with the rye,
around
you said, right?
Well, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. And this bourbon experience was great. My buddy's wife bought it for him for his birthday, and he brought 3 of us. So we go in there, very unassuming building in a part of Nashville. Used to be ghetto part of Nashville. Yeah. You go in there, and it's cool vibe, very cool vibe, very dark, and just barrels everywhere. Like you're just surrounded by barrels, especially in this room. And there are 4 that are cracked, and the guy comes in there, and you got a bunch of glasses, and he basically says, I'm not going to tell you shit. You're going to drink these. You're going to write down your notes. You're going to drink it 3 times. The first one is just palate cleanser. Next one, you're sort of getting there. Third one, you're really gonna taste it. And we were in there for an hour and a half, maybe more than that actually. Just tasting.
That's a lengthy tour, like
absolutely. And it was just the 4 of us and the dude. He was not the barrel mixer. So National Barrel Company does not distill their own juice.
Oh, I didn't know
They
that.
buy juice from other places, do their own tasting, decide I want to mix that barrel with that barrel, that barrel with that barrel, whatever they want.
I didn't know
and
that.
They really do their own blending. So they have their one. They were founded by 2 guys. One was the sales and marketing guy. The other one had the palate. And neither one of those guys were there, but their third in charge was the one that was running the show and did a great job. But he, very matter of fact, cursing as much as I do, and I ain't telling you shit about shit. But if you wanted more of something, or if you had questions, and we'd do that. And not till after you tasted all 4 of them and we were there for an hour, do we finally find out what was in each barrel.
Dang.
So this one, and they don't water down anything. So this is straight out of the barrel stuff. This is like 120 something proof. Everything is 115 and above.
I can feel it inside of my lips and the top and all the way back down. This is hot.
It's hot, and
I don't feel it as much as you do.
I do.
And this is
this might be one of the best bourbons I've ever had.
Yeah,
this is fantastic.
And it's not. It's a rye.
I'm sorry. This might be one of the best whiskeys
I can taste
I've
the
ever had.
spearmint. Like it's very spearminty, which is not like 13 Colonies has something like this, and I don't like. But this, I don't know.
So it's a blend of rye. So first of all, you get a ton of spice, and it screams rye to me, at least. But what I got was, if you ever had Saint Germain, it's elderflower liqueur.
Oh, yep. I know what you're talking about.
It's a really cool bottle. It's called Saint Germain, and that's what I got on the nose. And I mean, I went all the way through. I tasted everything else. I came back to it. I was like, it's still in my brain. This is my thing. So the cool thing is they bottle it. If you want to buy it, you buy it, and you get a bottle. You get to name your own bottle. So this one I called, because I'm super cool like that. This is called elderflower muff. Because I just get a ton of that elderflower in the nose and even in the palate. Very sweet. What I don't like about ryes is they're too spicy. So the ryes that I do like are on the sweeter side. The one Journeyman one is rye with corn.
Yep.
Which I enjoyed this. And this one just had a really good, like you said, floral, like minty and sweetness, and it bites through that. It's a perfect complement to the spice. So I love it.
I definitely the heat plays. And this sounds pretentious, whatever. It plays menthol-y to me. Like, instead of it being, like, whiskey burn for me, it's, like, menthol to me.
It doesn't hurt.
No.
Like,
not
it
at all.
doesn't, like, I can feel the sting, but it doesn't take anything away. Like, sometimes it does. But I'm getting, maybe I got a different pour. I didn't get spearmint at all. I'm getting more like almost brown sugar and caramel. Like, it's sweet.
We'll see if I have messed up your order of things then.
You want to taste mine and make sure that you're drinking the same thing?
When we refill.
Right? No, they're the same.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, the
It's
same.
just
Interesting
just-
you say that because
It's
as
just
we
palate
move,
and
different,
And
yeah.
as we move to the next one, you'll get a different note. But anyway, enough about bourbon. We don't talk about bourbon. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So
No, but
Keep it
we can blabber about it. It's good. It's really, really,
it's yummy.
really tasty. Did they ever give you the mash bill on it?
So
Because it's a blend, it's kind of
it is a blend of 4 different ryes, and I forget where they got each rye from.
okay.
The next one I know a little bit more about. The next one I know a little bit more about. I forget this one. I was just taken back that I was actually going to buy a bottle of rye from somewhere.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And
Now this isn't something you can go buy. This is only something that was unique. Like this is the only barrel. I mean, other people that did the barrel experience may have that bottle, but
That's
this
right.
isn't what I can go to Total Wine or
That's
Toll
right.
Gate or whatever and pick up.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I've had their rye, like their regular rye,
Mhm.
and it's not nearly as
and
good
so,
as
like I
this.
said, everything they do is sort of niche because it's not like they have their own juice and
Mhm.
put it in and
Right.
make 50 barrels of it. So everything they do is by the barrel stock. I might be mistaken there. They might have people do some mixing elsewhere and then put it in barrels. And I know for the next one, for example, they've put different kind of whiskey in a different kind of barrel.
Cool.
So we'll get to that.
Well, it's the start of the school year, new
goodness.
season. Yeah, God, yes, thank you. What's happened in y'all's life? Because we haven't talked.
College visits, like on campus, checking these out. Yes, I like this. No, I don't like this. We've only done a couple, but yeah, it's surreal. We pull up to actually, it's still the number 1 school on her list. Pull up to the thing, and there's a little poster on the side of the parking lot. Park here, and it had her name on it, and I was like,
Oh,
the fuck.
they really want your money.
Oh
Please
man,
give me your money.
it's been, and like to be like, oh my God, I got a year and a half and she's
Gone.
living in a dorm and driving herself up and back, and I mean she's pretty responsible. Like I should be more worried than I am. Really, it's a different like she's gonna be fine, but still, it's like she's
Grieving.
it's a whole
yeah.
it's a whole change of everything, you know.
And then you go from
weird. I don't know what to
3
think about it yet.
2.
Right to none. Well, one of them will stay with us.
Forever. No, but it's amazing the different levels. So my analog is hockey. Both boys got back in hockey season. Thank the fucking Lord, because they feel like their life is worth less when they're not doing that.
Interesting.
It really their self-worth, their confidence during the summer. They love not going to school. Don't get me wrong, but they need the structure. But when in that lull without hockey, they're like, "Well, what do I do?" I'm like, and then they go outside and they play hockey for a couple hours a day,
Right.
and there's still 8 hours of entertainment to do, and they just glued to other things. But as soon as they got back into it, Quinn is a second-year Pee-wee, so he's a 12U. He's 12 in the 12U league. Cooper is a first-year Squirt. Squirt is 10U. He just turned 9. He's one of only 2 kids or 3 kids on his team that went to the top team from being the first in the age group, and he's a fucking stud. Like, he leads the team in goals, and he's like loves it. Everybody loves him. But my oldest is like the most coachable. He's a love buddy. But I realized after the season, Quinn goes to Bantam. In Bantam, you can hit, and I'm not ready for that shit.
You can't hit in Pee Wee?
You can't hit in 12U. You can hit in 14U.
That must have changed because when I played Pee Wee was when you could start checking.
And then maybe it was Pee Wee 14 or Pee Wee's 12. Maybe it was just different.
I don't remember. It's
Well,
just
yeah.
what I always assume the names stayed the same because Pee Wee's is when you could start checking. Bantam is when you were really hitting each other. But I mean, they really started checking in squirts. You rarely ever got called for it. But Pee Wee's is when it was
there
part
can
of
be
the
some
game.
contact in Pee Wee, and there is.
Pee Wee's when it was part of the game. Then Bantams is.
I'm not ready
the kids,
for it.
A 16-year-old looks very, very different than another 16-year-old than another 16-year-old. There's a
I'm telling you, and I've seen some of those games, and it's not the hits you're looking for. It's the ones that come out of nowhere, and these kids are fucking reckless. Sometimes they're just headhunters, and if you're not looking over your shoulder, if your head's down, look at the puck, and I've seen some people get wiped out. I'm just not ready for it because as much as I'm sure they are ready to throw a hit, they're not ready to take it.
You got to take one too.
Well, and your mental state is not ready to see them like take a hit.
So, speaking of the devil, and I was out of town. Nicole was with the boys at this tournament, and they're playing the Junior Preds, who's their in-house rival, in-town rival. And I'm watching on Live Barn because they have cameras in most of these places. And Quinn's actually normally a defender, and for some reason this game he's playing winger, and he goes in and takes a shot on net. Goalie saves it, and he's doing a little poking like you're supposed to do, and the defender does like he's supposed to do and clears out the crease. So puts him down for cracking the goalie. No problem. Quinn gets up, dude, full-on haymaker, hits him in the face, like full-on swing. And I was like, I'm freaking out from far away. I see his reaction, and I know this reaction. It's the same reaction when his brother hits him. They'd be playing around. Mm-hmm. When his brother crosses the line, Quinn he knows he can't attack back, and so he internalizes it, and I can see from hundreds of miles away through a camera that he's losing it.
Yeah, I get it.
To his credit, he sprints away from that, goes right to the bench, goes around the bench, sits like facing the opposite direction, just puts his head down. Coach goes to see her. You're right, and it wasn't got hit with a mask on.
Yeah, right. It didn't hurt,
but it was the fact that like, I cannot believe that guy punched me in the face. Like cross-check me, throw me down, do whatever you want, but literally to take your hand off your stick, wind up and swing. And so I was more concerned for him. The parents of that kid apparently were like cheering hardcore, like and super like up about it. And Nicole was there. There's some people you don't want to cross, and Mama Bear.
She's on that list.
I'm telling you. And apparently, whatever ensued, I wasn't there. Somebody was staring people down and wouldn't confront. A little bit passive aggressive, I'm sure, but
it's interesting. Like. How much parents in those moments are like, that is not okay. Like, it's not.
Not
like,
a hockey play.
It's not even part of the rules.
That's right.
Like, it's not
a
part
hockey
of this,
play. Yeah.
that is a not hockey play.
And you're cheering because it happened. You're like, no. Oh, you better believe my ass. I'd be on that ice yanking him off the.
And that's what I'm saying. The old adage, there's no such thing as a bad kid as a bad parent. Like, you just feel bad. And even some kids that are on our team, I'm in the stands. Great group, by and large, great group of parents. Mm-hmm. Love it, enjoy it. Very different between teams, but that's okay. Everybody thinks that their kid's going to go pro, so they think they should be treated special or whatever. Right. And you see a handful of them be like, yeah, I know why that kid is less coachable. Mm-hmm. I've had talks with the dad, and I've been talked at by the dad. And there's a handful of kids, and we might have talked before. My kids know better. If you're on the ice, you don't look up at me. Mm-hmm. Look to your players, look to your coach, but don't look to me. And there's a handful of people that are still looking up at dad and getting real-time coaching.
Kid does something good or bad, and the first thing they do is look in the stands. Yeah, like I know what happened on the car ride here, or what's going to happen on the car ride home, or whatever.
And your shoulder shrug was exactly right. It's almost like I got to look to see if I did something. It's like,
it's good to know because as I was telling Nate when we were walking over here, Logan starts basketball for the first time this November. And you asked me if I was good coaching, and I was like, I'm drawing the line. Like, I can't coach my kids because I am too competitive, and I don't think I need my kids to have that relationship with me. Like, I need to be on the stands, and in that front. But to hear you guys say like, it's good for me to go into there and be like, hey, Logan, coach, not me, and keep a stoic face.
Well, and I've every time I've coached my kids, well, okay, when we did little kid soccer, I was still dad and coach. But as they've gotten a little older and I'm a coach, we're walking into practice, I'm coach. I'm not dad right now. Mm-hmm. And then after the game, okay, I'm dad now. We can talk. Mm-hmm. But I've had to say, like physically say, I'm coach.
Yeah,
done.
Makes sense.
Right? Because otherwise they think they can get away with shit or, whatever. And it's something you got to just put your hat on too. But they need to know that there are lines, and there's been many times we'll have a big discussion about what happened at the game all week, right? And then they'll do that look up in the stands, and I'm like, not now. We never talk about the game at the game or after the game until we get to the car and we're driving home. Like they'll be bitching about the game as we're walking on, but shut up. Yep. We don't talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get to the car. Because you need a second to kind of process what happened. You need to go talk to your coach because he's especially now with Keikoa, with his basketball coach. I love this guy. but he puts them intentionally in really, really bad positions. And if they fail, he puts them back in that position until they get it. There was one kid that was sobbing during the game. And he's like, no, dude, again. Again. Like, we're down by 40 at this point. Again, until you can get it. And, you know, that's hard. That's really hard. But now, I pulled the dad aside about 2 weeks ago, and I sat down with him and I said, hey, that game in Colombia, that was rough. And he's like, oh, I know. So I said, but look at him now, man. Dude, that kid is good. But he had to go through that shit. And, you know, they like when things are, you know, they'll look at me. I'm like, no, coach is working on something. That's right. Talk to coach. I'm not working on that with you. Talk to him.
And in fact, there's a rule. There's a 24-hour rule with coach. A parent cannot talk to the coach within 24 hours of the game. I mean, I'm sure that gets broken all the time, but that's kind of the standard. Like, listen, cool down, go talk about with your kid, and then tomorrow we can talk with you. Yeah, settle down.
It's good.
But it's when I put my coaching hat on, dicking around the house, there's a fine line for giving a tip and then trying to coach, and they know that line instinctively, and they shut down when I put coach's hat on. Like, you don't know shit. I was like, do you want to go one-on-one? You want to? Which of us know more about this? But that's one thing. It's my job to keep it exciting. It's my job to keep it fun. And one bit of advice I'll give you is after the game, it's would you like some feedback? And you're allowed to say no.
Yeah.
But if you go in and saying, here's what I think you did wrong, it's like, Dad, I didn't fucking ask you. Right?
Yeah. Oh,
but would you like some feedback?
That's a hard one as a parent, though.
No.
Right? Because you're always trying to parent your kids, getting about, well, if you would have just went left instead of right. Did you not see that? How could you not see that? You know?
Would you like some feedback? And you can say no right now. And every time they say no, they come back 5 or 10 minutes later and say, all right, Dad, what were you going to say? Because it was just like I wasn't ready to talk about it, or I saw the look in your eye when you asked the question. You want some feedback? You know how you fucked up today? But it on request gives them the chance to say no, and they're more likely to ask for it down the road.
It's good to hear you guys talk about this because me and Aaron had this conversation. I feel like we have good kids, like great kids. And we keep hearing about scenarios that just suck. Like when you were talking about your son getting clocked, I'm just like, how do you walk through that with, was it Cooper or was it Quinn?
That was
Quinn. And how do you walk through that with them? Because as a parent, you're just like, there's some shitty people out there and not worth your energy. And I know that sucks. And that's all, like, I feel like Livy's dealing with some of that for my girls' issues, and I'm just like, baby, I'm sorry. Like, I can't, like, you can't just clock somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
can't fight your battles for you, and you can't. Yeah, you're not going to be there every time when you. It's tricky.
We were at a basketball tournament. Game got real heated. Now, mind you, these are 6th graders. Game's getting real heated, real back and forth. Some piece of work parents in the crowd cheering for like dirty shit, like dirty plays. And we lost. And Koa was okay with it. He knew, like, we played hard. They were just bad. Like, he was pretty even that way. And he's like, hey, I have to tell you something that happened during the game. I was like, what? He goes, remember number 14? I was like, yeah, the one you were guarding. He's like, yeah. He kept calling me the N-word. I was like, you? He's like, I know. But what do I say? I say, you say nothing. Yeah, you say nothing. You can just kind of do this and be like, really? Or something like that. But
yeah. I heard the same thing. I've heard exactly the same comment. I'm like, again, they're growing up in white bread America where they don't even know what that means or what it could potentially lead to. But I'm like, what? Where did they go? But again, it was 2 white guys.
Well, this was not. This was really? One black kid in Keikoa, and he kept calling. And he's like, why did he do that? I'm like, bro, I had no idea. Just, you didn't repeat it, right? He's like, no, of course I didn't repeat it.
He's just getting in front of it in case it was coming the other way.
But just so you know.
No, it's, I mean, kids on kids is something we can't replicate, right? They just are different beings and different motivations. They hear something, and my general rule with them is you don't say a word unless you know what it means. And then you don't say those words until you master the rest of the English language. And once you do that, you can curse all you want. But I can tell you that you don't have a good mastery level of the language yet. And so when you do, like, if anything, go study, go read a lot so that you can get really good English just so you can curse sooner, you know?
Yeah. Read a bunch of old English stuff so that way you can be like, hello, father. Thou art an asshole.
An arse. Thou art an arse.
Arse.
You got it. Oh, God. I could pick on this county, of course. We always do because we live here. And I guess, really, I've always lived in a William. That's not true. Since I've been an adult, I've always lived in a Williamson County. Dude, these wreck parents, man. There is no scouts here at all, ever. They will never come ever to a rec game. Sorry, no high school coaches watching. No, they're 8 and they're playing soccer. Guess what? Next year they're going to want to ride a horse, and then the year after that, maybe they're going to be a professional hopscotch, and then they're going to figure out, basketball's cool. It's so fucked up.
Well, that's the thing that I think you guys have said it multiple times, and then we'll get into the next one. I don't aspire for my kids to aspire to be a professional athlete. I want them to, like, if they're talented at it, that's great. I just know my kids and I see how they run. They might grow into it, but they're not going to be from a basketball standpoint. I want them to be healthy. I want them to be wise and make wise decisions, teach them about finance, all of this stuff, because that stuff will, I know teamwork and all of that still matters, but
do it for those reasons.
Yes.
Not to go pro. You're not gonna. My kid's gonna be my size. Sorry, boys.
Yeah.
So
sucks for you.
Let's go to our next pour, and I'll talk about my next spot.
Okay.
Partly off of that.
One down.
Yep. You want me to set it over here? All right. Wow, it looks a lot different when it's neat. It's almost dark. So, we'll do the sip pour first.
This one, I smell brown sugar on this one.
It's 2 in a row.
So fucking good. This
one's even sweeter than the last one.
This is too sweet for me, but I'm so enamored with the story, and it's a good mixer. And it's still 116 proof.
I wouldn't mix this with nothing. I just drink. So I like it sweet though. Like I like the sweeter bourbons. But I was drinking Jack Daniels the other day, just straight Jack, dude. Like maybe because I've been burnt with all this stuff, it tastes like bananas. Like it tasted like that sweet sour marshmallow. I'm like, wow, this is really good. Chug chug.
And this is not sweet in the way a wheated bourbon is sweet. This is sweet like honey.
Yes, very honey. Like
okay,
honey. That's a really good word. That's a really good word.
So this I called bison syrup because this is Buffalo Trace juice finished in maple syrup barrels.
I can definitely get the maple syrup vibe.
Okay.
Just cool idea to take something really hot and mellow it down, and that's how you mellow it down.
But Buffalo Trace isn't typically a hot.
Well, that's because it's always down by you buy it
because
90
they
proof
cut it
by the time you get it. This is out of the barrel.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's always cut,
and so it's uncut.
Damn, this is
good. But the way they mellow it is with maple syrup, and obviously they rinse out. It's not like there's still sap in there, but
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if there was still sap.
But it's
in
sweet.
there.
It's sweet enough, yeah.
So I drank last night. Actually, I drank Lexington Brewing makes a maple barrel stout, 12% imperial stout, aged in bourbon barrel, and then re-aged for 18 months in a maple syrup barrel, and it's like, dude, it's like one of the best beers I've ever had.
I don't know, that one that we had that one night was
pretty fire. Dark Lord, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was real good. I almost shit myself, but that's the point.
Well,
it was a dark.
It wasn't from the Dark Lord. It was from the Dark Lord and the Bourbon County and like the 4 other 15% stouts that we were drinking that night.
And we had to walk up a hill.
It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Fucking gravity.
No, but anyway, talking about sports. No, statistically, your kids aren't going pro. Maybe college, maybe, but I really it's the only thing that I've been able to show my kids, and I'm sure there's other stuff out there where there's a direct correlation between work put in and results. And
That's a good way to put it.
And like, well, you know, I got a swimmer and a runner. You don't swim, you don't get faster. You work your ass off. Oh my gosh, look at that! Now you qualified for this. Now you qualified for that. Did you get there on your own? No. Did you get there because you bought a new $500 suit? No. You got there because you worked your ass off every day. Same thing with running. Did you, like Kai just broke 18 minutes in a 5K.
Dang.
When it's 17:55. Because of his new shoes?
No.
I mean, they do look fast, but that's not what it is. And like,
They do have wings on them.
Keikoa started playing basketball with this new coach that, you know, puts him in these situations. He started playing with him last December, and he's always loved basketball. He's always played. He's always just kind of been a kid on the team. He's running point now. And that's just with 8 months of work of just grinding hard and like going out and shooting. And he's like, he sees. So it's like, I'm sure there's other things, right? There's other.
Do you see a big difference in their development because one's a team sport and one are individual, or two are individuals?
No, not really. only because I didn't push them into any sport that I wanted them to do. I let them find their sport, so then they fell in love with it on their own. And so, no, I haven't really seen any difference between a team sport because they both are out grinding. Now, there's things like, oh, that coach didn't play me. You swam the time or you didn't. You sat on the bench. Now, we'll find out. This will be our first year playing school ball. So maybe, I don't know. And like our club team, most games, there's only 6 or 7 kids that are there. So you're playing.
Everybody.
You're only coming out because you're tired and you need a break and you're going right back in. Yeah. So he's used to a ton of playing time. Now we just found out the new middle school teams, they got 12. So
could be sitting down.
Could miss a whole game.
Yeah.
You know, realistically. So we'll find out in the future. But no, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet.
I'm a huge fan of the team sports because on and off the ice. Off the ice, they love in the hotel rooms dicking around, getting in trouble with each other, and they find the little clicks within the team. The cool things, like the idea of a group text was such a foreign concept to me growing up, right? And they're on these group texts very early on. But on the reliance and the trust on the ice to saying, I have to stay here. I know I see the puck going that way, and I can get there first. But I'm trusting that he's going to, and therefore I'm going to be available for him. I'm thinking one step ahead. The reliance there, and you can see when it breaks down. There are a couple times they'll be switching up lines or something like that, and you'll see both kids out of position. And if you really trace that to root cause, it's because neither one of them trusted that the other one was going to do the job now, so that I support it. They both went to go do the first job because, like, I'm not sure if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it and do it. And so I really enjoy watching them click with each other and clearly move away from the easy play. One, because they trust the guy to do it. Second, because if they don't, they're not going to be a good support capacity for the next pass. And I love watching that, and it burns when it's not there. Yeah. Because just like, you guys are both out of position, what are you doing? And then that's when the arguments go, well, he was going to do this. He was out of position doing that. Like, you've already lost.
Right.
If you're saying that guy wasn't there, first of all, go tell him in real time, you got this, I got this, or whatever it is. Second of all, if you didn't do it then, you're on the bench for 45 seconds at a time. Go say something there, you know. Don't just go take a sip of water, put your head down, you know.
It's good to know.
So I enjoy the team aspect of that, and I got that a lot in soccer. Baseball, different story. I played baseball growing up too, and that's, while it's a team sport, at any given time, you do your thing. Yep. Yeah.
It's funny. So last weekend, the cross-country team went to Memphis 2 weeks ago, but it doesn't matter. Sure, there's team scoring. There's things you can do as a team, but I've never really looked at it as a team score or team sport. And the coach here at Indy is phenomenal. Like he is. Thank you. But anyway, he is absolutely fantastic. And he sent an email out to all the parents. He's very communicative. He's been sending emails out about the team meshing, the team gelling, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, it's cross country. He sent out an email last week. He's a giant nerd. he had the entire race broke down by like every maybe third of a mile and what the teams were doing and where each team was and how these boys moved here to catch these boys to move together to. It's like, holy shit, it is a team sport. And like he's like, this person took off and did this, and we were in fifth, and then this happened, and then when they came by this line, then everyone was paced here, and we were in fifth place, but we had moved over 4 guys on these side, and these 4 people had moved ahead of these 4 people. He had the whole 250 kids on the course, and he knew where they were and where they moved and how they moved as a team, and we ended up getting second. We started in fifth and like moved up. I was like, what the fuck?
And it was organic, or that's stuff that he teaches?
That's stuff they've been working on, and
Very
that's stuff
cool.
that hasn't really happened yet. So our team is we have 1 senior at Indy. One, maybe 2, but like it is a very sophomore heavy team. So one.
But if you're finishing second already with a sophomore team,
and our junior won it. He ran a 5K in a 14:55. He's
still standing up afterwards.
He's so damn. He won by 40 seconds. Yeah. He's so fast. But swimming's a little bit different. Like there's relays and stuff, but that one there's no pack, there's no moving, there's nothing. However, the team does really jump around and like you can really scream and holler right at at one end of the pool or the other. But
and that's it, Matt. I bet you during practices it's all even more so.
Yeah, they really work as a team. They really push each other and yeah.
Do in swim? Do they swim near the lanes that like? Is she swimming next to teammates, or you know what I mean, like that?
Yeah, because the team's a little bit bigger, so they're in pace groups. So like depending on what stroke they're on and where they're at, they move to different groups to swim with people that are your pace are slightly faster, so you're always kind of pushing each other, and then you're moving.
Yeah, that's cool. Just to have that presence in mind of like. Yep.
Can they see that world record line like in the pool
it's underwater. it's Ensworth. It's a private school. It's super bushy. It's like it's the green line.
A full LED.
Exactly.
Bottom of the pool.
Exactly.
So I sent you a picture. Are they doing something at Centennial? Because the whole pool is gutted, and it looks like at Centennial.
Yes, they're redoing the pool.
It's
supposed to be done in August.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's way behind schedule.
Oh, I said they're missing a good chunk of season.
Yeah. So apparently there's another smaller pool at Vanderbilt or in the general area somewhere like a small that they're practicing in.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's where they're at. Totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Team sports.
Oh yeah, bougie school, Ensworth. During COVID, when everything was shut down, you couldn't go in and watch this. Couldn't go in and watch the events, which. God, I would go give anything to go back to a COVID swim meet. They were so short. There was no parents. It was glorious. Glorious. But anyway, they projected the meets in real time onto the Jumbotron on the football field, so all the parents could sit outside and social distance and watch their kids swim inside. Must be nice to go to them fancy private schools.
I mean, I don't miss certain aspects of COVID, but I do miss the simplicity of life during COVID.
Yep. Yeah.
I know that's a controversial statement.
A lot of people died. Let's not go back to it. I lost a lot of people, but there was some silver linings of a very, very dark cloud.
Yes.
It's funny. I remember we were probably 2 or 3 months into it, and people were freaking out. And then somebody forwarded me a video, and it was a thank you video. It was a 2-minute video. Thank you, COVID. And it was thank you because you've given me more time with my loved ones. Thank you for. And it was the first time anybody had spun it that way. It was super moving. You look back at it, and it's more true now than you like. There's definitely some things I learned during COVID that I'm glad I did, but obviously
like all of the sidewalk chalk. Our whole neighborhood was one big art project. Through the whole thing. In fact, one of the kids would come out every night and play his cello or bass or whatever. Awesome. He just sat out here and he'd play for like 30, 40 minutes and just sit outside and play.
We moved towards the end of COVID. I mean, I remember us moving here, and we lived in Charlotte at the time, and it was very still mask heavy, and it was not here, and we were wearing our masks, and I'm like, oh, I guess we're not supposed to be doing that.
There is a reason why we had more people die than anywhere else in the country, but
okay, I do want. We kind of bridged this. We didn't bridge this gap with COVID, but it's probably a good segue. My kids the other day were sitting at dinner table, and they both look at me, and they're like, I'm not asking you this question, but I'm asking you, how do you navigate this, especially in this county?
Yep.
They were like, hey, Dad, are you voting for Trump or Kamala? And I'm like, they're like, my friends are doing this, and I'm like, your friends don't need to. My friends' parents are voting for Trump, or my friends' parents are. I'm like, the way I vote and choose to vote is no one's right to it's mine. Like I am.
Nope, I tell them exactly how to do it. I'm just kidding.
But we go back to Williamson County. Like it's like you're going to be crucified either way. So I'm like,
you're only going to be crucified one way.
you can get both ways. Like
you got to go
I'm in the
15 miles north in order to get crucified.
No, so I feel like you guys will. But I'm in the creative field, so you're going to get crucified either way.
Yep.
Like if you vote Trump or you vote Harry, like it's just our comma. Like I'm screwed either way, so I don't even talk about it. Like on that front.
So we for a while kind of took that approach, and recently we just we live here. My daughter's gonna be 17. She'll be 8. She'll be voting. Yeah. She can't vote this election. She'll vote in the next one. We better start talking about it. You can vote however you want, but here's why I'm voting this way. Mm-hmm. Here's why those people are voting that way. And it's just conversations that you can control the narrative now and kind of talk about facts, or they can go. So it's kind of really one of Kamale's classes right now. Her assignment for the first quarter every day was to listen to 15 minutes of news. Dang. Any news does not matter.
The fucking face.
Well, because and then to come back and talk about it. What'd you hear? What news did you listen to? What news did you listen to? What did you hear about that? So it didn't matter. You want to listen to Fox News, One American Network, Al Jazeera, NPR. Didn't matter. Just 15 minutes or 5. Maybe it wasn't even 15. It might have been like 5. It was listen to a couple news stories. Let's come back and talk about it. What did you hear? And it was just to learn how to listen to what somebody's telling you.
Yeah.
I take an interesting tactic, maybe I think it is, and this is it's very much reflective of the way I see politics as well. It's make fun of both candidates through the roof, and say that's part of it. There's the figurehead of that. Now let's talk about the actual policies, the actual where they sit on this or that, and I'm going to take that back. Make fun of the candidates first, then talk about the issues, regardless of who's going for which way.
Right.
Just talk about the issues. Make them have an opinion on Roe v. Wade, or make them have an opinion, and then I'll get to that. We've talked about this before. I love playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Awesome idea. But if you think that, then that means you also think that. You okay with that? Oh, well, then where's the balance, right? But to me, you have to take the laughable caricatures that are the candidates off the table. And I don't think that's what the general public can do.
Like
If the general public could do that.
No, they definitely can't do that.
And, okay, so they can't. At the same time, part of them shouldn't either.
I don't know if it's they can't or they don't want to.
Well, but even still, like, you can't, because you're not just voting for that person's politics. You're voting for that person.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So the sad part is you're stuck with both.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be jaded by that. I want them to have some faith in the system and say there are two sides to every story. There are two ways to look at any issue. Talk me through yours, right? But as soon as you have to lump that in with a figurehead, and as fucking laughable as all of them are,
yes.
Right? I try not to be too cynical with them, but after we talk about that, we're like, listen, I might say, guess which one of these are in your line of thinking versus the other, and most times they get it wrong. And so would the average electorate.
Oh, 100%.
If I'm a fan of, and call me elitist, but you should take a test in the ballot and says which of the candidates thinks this versus that.
Yeah.
And only count the votes of the people who got it right.
Right?
Because otherwise, what are you doing? What are you voting for? Right?
Well,
again, there are holes in that.
Yeah.
But there are more holes in just letting somebody just write a name and say, I saw a TV guy.
Well, here's the thing that we were discussing is like, hey, the people that are having those conversations, they're not like, it's a fine line, because your friends and their parents, I don't know them, but the way they're asking that question, is setting you up to have an argument.
That's right.
And so the reason why Dad responded the way he is, I'm like, I'm still like, at the time I was like still very unsure. Like, I'm just like, and even saying that is like,
Yep.
what the hell? Like, you're this or this. And to your point, like you said there's there's several viewpoints. There's like 600 viewpoints to something. And I'm like, I agree with this. I agree with that. Like,
and you're not going to be that left or right across the board,
correct.
odds are.
100%. And we've talked about it. I think we all lean a little bit more like moderate, like we're well-balanced individuals. Like,
How dare you? How dare you not take a stand across the board blindly for whatever color you like best?
yeah. But like that's the thing that I was just trying to communicate to the kids. I was like, guys, is your friends don't need to know the way I vote or you vote. And what I probably should have done is what you do in the devil advocate is like, you should have asked why their parents voted or like are voting for Trump or voting for Kamala.
Anyone.
Just to understand, like, to your point, we're too quick to be like, well, this is my opinion.
They make it matter of fact. They're like, oh yeah, because Trump's better, right? Because that's what everybody was saying. Like, as that's like true false.
Kamala's going to make us eat cats.
Yeah.
So
no, but it's a and they hear it, and again, mommy is more strongly.
Yeah. Mom leans heavily one direction.
But and so when they come over, it's like, oh yeah, that's just not right because he's better than that, right? I'm like, whoa, where'd you get that? First of all, second of all, they both suck. So let's talk about the issues. What do you like? You know?
That's where and the conversation led. I was like, we currently live in a two-party system. I'm like. And that's what we're dealing with. Like, we've got two options. In a perfect world, technically we have more than two options, but like they're.
Right. I mean, we could vote Kanye.
Yay.
I know some people that have worked for Yay, and I'm good. I'm gonna skip that one. But like, I'm just like, I should have, in hindsight, been like, okay, did you ask them why they're voting that way? And then like. Start asking, like, to your point, and I think you do this beautifully, is like, let's start asking better questions. I'm like, oh, like, well, why is that stance important to you? And find out the backstory. It's because of X or Y, or I had this experience, and I really am scared that we're going to be this way. You know what I mean? Like, just like, we're too quick to be like,
even on the ridiculous, like, oh, I heard Joe did this, and like you heard a meme of him mumbling. I was like, would you like me to find you a meme that you're not going to like of Trump or anybody else? Like, you can find anything on the internet, and especially with the three that we're talking about here, there's a ton of hilarity out there. So if you're just doing it based on that, everyone's equally as hilarious in the wrong direction.
Yep. What were you about to say?
Oh, I don't know. I'm thirsty. No, I need to get better at asking the question instead of saying, here's why I think this. It needs to be like, well, what do you want? Here's the question you're actually asking. Where do you land?
Yeah.
And here's why you're wrong.
But the problem is it's almost never about the issue when you're talking about it.
No.
On TV, on radio, on podcasts. Like, can you believe this guy did this? I'm like, yeah. No, I can't.
So God damn, it's been a long time since we've been together. I had to go to D.C. and this year in lobby. And
dang, that must have been an experience.
It was because it was when the Palestinian protests were all going on.
You and me might have been there about the same time. Then,
so
I was there.
The whole Pennsylvania Avenue was all Palestinian flags and all shut down. And so my boss is like, I want to go see it. And I'm like, let's go. I'll go with you. So we went and walked through it. It was remarkably peaceful. Like it was, I thought for sure it was going to get out of hand, and it just didn't, which is a good thing. And it was the same day that Netanyahu was in town.
Ooh.
So most of our Netanyahu was in town. They blocked off all of everything. But the White House was blocked off. I mean, it was like 20-foot
walls,
steel walls everywhere. But so we're sitting in. So we had to meet with our lobbying group first to here's what we're doing. Here's why we're here. Here's our message.
Pro-pharma or anti-pharma?
Both, really. There's a place for it, right? But it's just the way things are going. There's some things that are happening, and we're getting reimbursed below cost on a lot of drugs, like insulin, for example. And I can't. It's really hard to make a business work when you have to sell it under what you pay for it. But anyway,
and especially with a drug that is widely used at a high rate.
Yeah, very used. But anyway, we were sitting in there and we were talking about the plan and who passed the plan and what they want to do and who we're giving money to. I'm like, why the fuck are we giving money to that guy? He hates us. He doesn't want to talk to us. He doesn't care two shits about us, but we're giving him $10,000. Why?
Because he's owed a favor by somebody.
If you want to talk to anyone, you have to give him money, or you're not going to talk to him. And I was like, what? Wait, hold on.
I'm pretty sure that's not how it's supposed to work.
That's not how it's supposed to work. And they're like, well, that's actually how it works. So let's parlay it into a little bit different topic. I don't know if you remember. Everyone remembers the Covenant shooting, but that whole group popped up with the anti-guns in Tennessee, and then people were, for lack of a better term, up in arms. Pardon the punch. That's really bad. When they found out that group is giving money to Republicans. And it's really hard for people to be like, that's the only way you're going to get to talk to them. And it's a super majority here. So talking to your kids about politics, well, you supported this guy. I had to. And my kids were like, well, you're just going to vote for this person for this election. I'm like, I can't, because they're going to lose. They're going to lose. It's just math. I have to vote for this person because at least this person aligns with me on this one thing that I think is important, even though I disagree with everything else. But that thing, that's really important to me. So I got to cast a vote over here. So I can't vote straight party ticket, or I can't vote because there's too much nuance. And when you're in a state that is overrun on one side, just how we are.
And it's funny how when you tell,
but not everyone on that side believes that way,
correct,
right? So you got to figure out, okay, oh no, wait, actually they're more in the middle, and I agree with that guy. So I'm,
when I tell my kids that, and they're like, dude, that doesn't sound right. Like the Democratic Republic, like the whole system you have, and they say, I thought we live in a democracy where we get to make our own decisions. I was like, do you want everybody voting on every issue?
Right.
Do you want to take a poll and see how many people do you trust their opinion on? And again, talking about devil's advocate, you say, man, such a good idea. You're right. If you were well informed on every issue in the government, I'd love to have your opinion on every one of those things. Do you know how many people are well informed on all the things and what that would lead to? Like that's what, like when you look at polls and you say 38% people believe this, and they're like, how could that be? I'm like, because people are stupid.
Yeah.
A person can be smart. People are dumb and evil and mean. Yeah.
And they have their own agenda for usually money.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pick on what their agenda is, but often they're selling
the answer to all your questions is money.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's go to your next pour.
Okay.
Cheers.
So this, I'm going to go out. Well, taste it first.
All I can smell is the goddamn fire.
Yeah.
Somebody has a fire pit going, and that's all I can smell right now.
So this,
you know what?
my whole night was my favorite of the bunch.
I think I like the maple, which is, I don't know, the rye is good too.
Maple rye, this is my third. However, this would still be in my top 10 overall.
So this 121 proof.
No shit. I can taste it on the right side of my tongue. Just on the right. And
I named this MGP Smash because it is a mix of 4 different types of MGP juice. And for those of you who've been watching, Penelope...
MGP makes all the juice.
Yeah. Penelope toasted barrel strength is probably on my top straight barrels. And this is when I
get those notes.
Went to the experience, and everybody's telling, like, listen, I'm a huge Weller fan, and I like this and with this, and I give my talk about I like high rye bourbons. I don't like too far on the wheat side. I don't like too far on the rye side unless you have some corn in there to balance it out. but I really, really like these high rye bourbons, and one of my favorites is Penelope. And when I said that, he kind of looked at me side eye, and we go through the rest of the night, and then he comes out. I'm like, I love these other ones for their uniqueness, and you can even see the colors and things like that. I love the story of the uniqueness, but this is my favorite glass of bourbon. Like if I'm just gonna say on a day, this is my bourbon, and he's like, interesting. I was like, why? He's like, because that fits your profile perfectly, which means I actually have my palate in control.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, like I said, I prefer these two, but this comes in my top 10.
Yeah.
And Penelope Toasted would be in my top 10.
Yeah, I mean, the High West
but
stuff
really,
is
really good.
Exactly right. The High West Chardonnay or the Port were both very much more sweet than than middle ground, and that's why you lead that way. As much as I fucking love those, that High West.
I still have
wine series.
I have 4 bottles, 2 of each. So if you ever in
the Port and the Chardonnay,
I was on the road this week for work, and the hotel I was at had High West Campfire, so I tried it. Arguably the single worst bourbon I've ever had.
Oh, like
fucking gross.
Their regular bourbon,
smoky.
Well, so it's smoky. It's American bourbon. It's their bourbon, another whiskey, and Scotch that they mixed together, and it tasted like someone was trying to disinfect my mouth with some sort of chemical cleaner. It's fucking gross, but I paid $20 for it, so I chugged it down. And then that's when I went and switched over to Jack Daniels. Like, goddamn, I need a palate cleanser.
I need some normalcy in my life.
It was so bad, and I was like, "Oh, it's the first," because I have the High West Double Rye at home, and it is, man, it's so good. Their stuff is.
The Double Rye is a good mixer, like a good old fashioned, like.
Oh yeah,
like it just comes in hot.
I'll be up near there. We're doing a ski trip to Utah, to Salt Lake City.
Oh, you said that. That's right.
We haven't decided on which mountain and how long we're doing which one, but I haven't looked to see where the distillery is, but I might have to.
You should go to Park City.
So we got the Icon Pass.
Is it in Park City?
Park City's the Epic.
Oh,
Pass.
it's excluded. Okay.
Yeah, we.
Are you staying? Where?
So we haven't decided yet. The problem is, I took the boys 2 years in a row to Steamboat. And they're fucking spoiled because
because you can stay on the mountain,
and not only like one of the best mountains to ski, it's also got the village and everything you want right there. So it's all the things. You go into Salt Lake, and Park City is that, yes, and Deer Valley is like the Aspen of fucking Utah. But we are going with the Icon Pass, and so we're going. Abby and I, Nicole and Nick, and the 2 boys. So we're doing a full family thing. But they are Borders, and Deer Valley is ski only. So that's off our list. Park City's the Epic Pass, so that's off our list. So that means Solitude, Alta, Snow Basin, Snowbird, and Brighton.
I was saying Brighton, right?
And I've never been to any of them, but
they're all great.
But they don't have like a lot of on mountain lodging. No. So I think what we're gonna do is gonna get an Airbnb kind of in Mill Creek, like inland or towards Salt Lake.
Okay.
And then stay there, and then one day go this way. We'll go this way.
You're going to check out Salt Lake at all while you're there? Have you been to Salt Lake?
I've been to Salt Lake
really
for a couple times. I used to do business with a company that was based there, and the Tabernacle in downtown is gorgeous.
Oh, so cool.
Super cool.
It's the most organized city you'll ever be in. Everything is square all the way out. Like we're on 47,000th and 933rd.
But it is a cool town. I've never been on the outskirts. I've been in the airport, and I've been in and around downtown.
They got hockey now.
They do have hockey now, but apparently it's like the worst arena in the world because most of it
Are they playing at the Delta Center?
They're playing where the Jazz play.
At the Delta Center.
But almost all of it is obstructed view. Everything up top is like partial view. So when you sit up there, you can only see like 2/3 of the ice.
That sucks.
But and they beat the Rangers the other day, which fucking sucks. But
yeah, it's early.
But no, I'm telling you, the NHL wants these expansion teams to actually be not this expansion. It used to be the Coyotes, but Vegas won like their second year in the league,
right? Well, I think the way the NHL does their expansion is the greatest of all the sports. Every team gets the lockdown, 2 players, and everyone else is free game because that's the only way to become competitive. You get any other new franchise, and they suck for a generation.
Exactly. You know what? An entire 10, 20 years. Yeah.
You know what? NHL and hockey needs a good. I mean, Letterkenny would be an example. That is
greatest Shoresy. It's one of the greatest shore ever.
I'm telling you, my kids are obsessed with Shoresy. And again, bad parent. Totally not quite NC-17, but as R as you can get.
That is one of the
there's no sex. You don't see boobs.
That's what I'm saying.
But you hear all the words.
Everything, like all you're missing is a good flash,
so
and then you're done.
I tell everybody, if you watch the cold open of Letterkenny, season 1, episode 1, and you're not laughing your ass off, just turn the show off. Because you're not going to like it.
Yeah, you're not going to.
But you're just giggling so hard.
The first cold opening I saw was when Squirrely Dan and them are tossing the ball.
So you didn't see like season 1, episode 1?
Not first. I've seen the whole season.
Okay,
I've watched. I haven't watched the last
where the other two guys
season.
come up. And,
Yeah.
So the boys started with Shorzy because we were in hockey, and then I tried to get them to watch Letterkenny afterwards, and they were like, "This is fucking stupid."
Yeah, see, I had to watch Letterkenny to get too short.
But I'm saying the fact is the same main character, and they're he's so different in each.
Yes, he is.
But oh my god, they love it. We've watched it twice all the way through, and I was trying to get Abby involved. She's like, absolutely, not, I will not partake in this.
There needs to be a good like Ted Lasso like show
Oh
for
my
hockey. God. Like it feels like it's gotten. I mean, especially up north, like it feels like it has such a pull. I don't know why someone hasn't written the IP yet.
Honestly, the reason I started, I watched it for a season before. I watched the entire thing all the way through before I introduced it to my kids, and it was based on a recommendation from one of the hockey dads. He's like, "You're gonna love this," and I was like, "All right." Abby was out of town or something. I was like, "I'll try it," and I was like, hooked. All the way through. Then I was like, "The boys are gonna fucking love this." But the main reason I showed it to him is and it has worked. Prior to that, my boys were not only so bad at shit talking, but they took it so personally. Like when one would shit talk the other, it would turn into a fight.
Right.
And I'm just like,
chirping.
You're allowed to shit talk. It's to me, it's part of the game. It's part of the fun. Like, be good at it and be able to take it. And it has worked in both effects. They become better shit talkers, which I fucking love, to each other and to me and to everybody else. But they take it less personally when someone is shit talking them. Yeah. And chirping is the right way to do it.
For fuck's sake, give your balls a tug.
Balls for a tit fucker.
I might need to have Keiko start watching because that can parlay to basketball pretty easily. And then when someone calls him the N word, he'll at least have a comeback for it.
Fuck's sake, give your balls a tug.
Shut the fuck up, Sanguinet. We were at a tournament and there was a Inuit-esque person, actually probably all the people that live by you, right?
Right.
With the double braids, and the kids were like, Sanguinet. I'm like, I love you. That's my boy. You play like shit on the ice as long as you know that shit.
How's your mom's doing?
The best is when they introduce Shorzy in Letterkenny at the beginning when he's just in the shitter. You never see his face. Yeah. He's in the shower.
Oh, man, such a good show.
It's one of my faves.
All right, so there is one thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the two, the one I mentioned to you, I think we're going to keep off camera for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
The other one is actually happened tonight, and it's been leading up to it. So the boys respect me innately. I've drilled that in there. Abby, as an outsider, has taken a great role as never be mom. We've made that clear. Both Nick on that side and Abby on my side. That's not your mom. You have a mommy, you have a daddy, and that's that. But they're part of the parenting structure and role. And same level of respect you show for me, you show it for them. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be the same. Yeah. Don't expect it to be the same. But Quinn has been kind of towing that line a little bit, which is weird because he's the rule follower sweetheart. Yeah. But if I'm not there, she'll tell me.
He's also what, 13?
He's 12. And coming of age, yeah.
Yep.
And today it was Cooper. So one thing, Abby's a gift giver. That's her love language and all that. So she keeps a stash of packs of hockey cards because that's Cooper's thing. And every once in a while, if he does something or just out of nowhere, it'll just be like, here's hockey cards, right? And he got one 2 nights ago. And he's like, Dad, film me as I open these things. Because it's his thing, right? So it turns out I'm with Quinn at practice. Abby's at home with Cooper. And he goes, she's doing something, and he disappears. And he sneaks. They're in the hallway closet. He goes and sneaks one, runs upstairs with it like hiding behind, and goes upstairs. And he's like, I'm going upstairs right now. I'll be in my room if you want to come in and you need me, knock first. So fucking like
knock first,
stupid fuck. Like we know we're so much smarter than you are, and we've done all those things before. And And she confronted him, and he did not tell the truth the first time. And she let it lie a little bit and then brought it up again, and he finally came clean with it. I'm struggling with how to handle it. What I want to do first is
hard to beat him.
How fucking rip his ears.
Right-handed or left-handed?
But I want them to establish trust together.
Mm-hmm. So okay, I'm gonna jump in here.
Please.
So it happened to Abby.
That's right.
However, if you had Christmas gifts hiding in there and he jumped in and took them because he knew they were there, because this is new, I think we give him a pass. Mm-hmm. I think he thought if you would have put Christmas gifts there, he snuck in and took them or peeked at them or looked at them or whatever. On this one, I don't think he was picking on Abby. Mm-hmm. I think he was taking advantage of a situation. Whether she's mom or not mom, there was an opportunity and he took it. I think if you're going at an angle to talk to him about it, it should be that angle as opposed to you need to respect Abby. He does. Mm-hmm. That needs to be part of it. But I just from the dynamic I've seen with your boys before, I don't think they were picking. I think they would have done this at mom's house too. Mm-hmm. Right?
Could be. So I'm actually going one step in front of that, not past that. And I have not brought it up with Cooper.
Okay.
That's something that she brought up after the fact and says, and he's going to have a sleepover with his buddy tomorrow, and I didn't want to take that away from him, but Abby makes dessert, and that he loves. He's like, what's for dessert? What's for dessert? So Abby's like, you're not going to have dessert tonight. Are you okay with that? This stays between you and I. Okay. She told me because I wanted to.
It's hard, yeah, right.
But I was like, do you want me to, when I come home, do you want me to address this with her? And she came up with a couple ideas, and I was like, how about that'll be your thing with him. He apologizes to you, gains your trust back, and never has to tell Daddy about it. And when I came home, he was not all the way there.
Right.
But I pretended like nothing happened. Well, everything's fine. And I didn't ask him about it. And I want to see how that works because I want them to have.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I think because this is a first incident, I think that's a good way to do it.
I also.
I don't listen. I don't think it has to do with Abby not being mommy because whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you guys because it's you guys are in the same household. If it happened to mommy, if it happened to daddy, like
because I could see that happening in my house just as easily.
Yeah,
like that. Like there's things that if I can't even think of a real situation that could have happened, but the situation you proposed, I can absolutely see happening in my house and the same result.
Well, Livy is notorious for sneaking candy up in her room and eating it, and we find wrappers in her bedroom.
And lying about it? Or,
yeah.
Well, Keikoa brought his own garbage can up there and hid it so that he could had something to throw the wrappers in.
When we get credit, man, you can do all you want.
It's not that she's lying about, but she's hiding it so that she in reality
it's wrong.
She knows.
Oh no, but what I'm saying, Abby confronted him. He said, "No, I didn't." And then eventually came clean, but not the first try.
But if you would have confronted him, he probably would have said, "No, I didn't."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Interesting. So I think the way you're doing it now is right.
I'm trying to build the trust in that relationship. Saying, listen, you fuck up with me, you deal with me. I'm not going to go run to dad and fucking have him chew you out, right?
Right.
I want to establish that, and I imagine in your relationships too, it's the same thing, yeah, right?
Nope, I do all the punishment. Eat the kids.
Well, we've never been a family that uses dad or mom as a threat. Like, you know what I mean? Like
your dad finds out he's going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
No, they just know I'm going to beat him.
Oh, wait until dad gets home. You know what I mean?
No,
it's just like Aaron handles the shit, and I'm like. What usually happens is Aaron handles it, and I come in, and I'm like,
hey. You're a good guy.
No, I'm just like, hey, what happened today? And they're like, I was like, it's like I'm almost walking them through that thought process of just like, hey, let's just tell the truth. That's a saying we say in our family, like just in general. It's like when I catch them in a white lie, I'm like, hey, let's just tell the truth. And they're like, shit, you know. I'm like, Dad, I'm telling the truth. And I'm like, all right, let's just tell the truth. That's all I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they know if they lie, it's way worse. Like, because to the point where we've gotten to the stage of like, hey, if you lie in my house, it's a week of no grounding. Like, and that's just because I used to lie so much as a kid, and to the point where it kind of probably hurt and that's probably bad parenting in the sense of, but like, I would lie at work all the time. It got me in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's the stuff, like,
you're gonna take that out of the house.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a couple of times where my kids have come and like, I did this. I'm like, okay, you told me. Mm-hmm. You know you're not supposed to do it, which is why you told me, and you're gonna lose you're gonna lose something for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a punishment, but that's it. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm not gonna. Now, if I would have found out about that and you didn't tell me and you lied to me about it, God, bro, I can turn the internet off by device. There's been we've talked about that before. I'm lagging. No, you fucking ain't lagging. You're dead. It's done. Sorry.
But I do think the way you're handling it is.
I think
it doesn't happen often, which is awesome. And I don't know if he would have done the same with me as you would with her. And the only reason I say that is because she's brought up a couple times where Quinn has been pushing the envelope with her. And so I want to be a united front. And so part of me wants to say, if Abby's mad at you, then I'm mad at you for the same reason. We talked about why we're mad at you, and you should know that we're mad at you because it happened to either one of us. I also want to go.
I feel like you are showing a united front, though. Like, in the sense of you're letting Abby handle it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not coming to you and being like, Dad, like, I accidentally took a pack of...
He was down, and I said, hey, buddy, what's up? What'd you guys do when I wasn't home? And I was teasing to say, Dad, I fucked up. Because that would have been the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have. He wouldn't have. Sorry. Now, I don't know if that would have shown
you didn't
that
use
he
the
didn't.
F word wrong.
He didn't trust Abby not to say. Abby said I wasn't going to say. So maybe that was a sign of trust that he didn't come to tell me because he knew he didn't have to deal with me because he just had to deal with that. So we'll see. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'm sure it will. But
the one thing that I would say. Just from an analyzation and third party and playing devil's advocate, the one thing that I would challenge y'all to do is say it's going to be just between you and me, like Cooper and Abby. Be like, that statement is technically false. You know what I mean? And like he kind of knows that, you know, like that. That's
what I'm saying. I don't think he does. I played off pretty well.
But at his age, he may not know that he knows. He probably.
That's right.
You're right. Right.
He thinks Abby, and that's the part that I'm struggling with. Abby said, "This is between you and I." Clearly, it wasn't.
Yeah. Right.
But we're okay doing that behind the scenes. You don't want him to have secrets with this person and secrets with that person, right?
So I think
certainly a relationship with that person and a relationship
in the future, I guess, just with the dynamic, you know, Abby could always say, "I'm going to tell your dad." But I'm also going to tell him not to do anything about it because this is our deal.
Yeah, and my idea is to a day from now.
Yeah,
like, hey, Abby told me what's up. You handled it with her. You apologized to her. You dealt with her consequences on that. Just want to let you know that she did tell me, but I really appreciate the way you fessed up.
I think that's great.
But and
just because right now it's hockey cards.
Yeah.
It's going to turn into beer.
Yep.
And then pot or whatever, girls or something, you know. So you have to establish that trust at the little things to get the trust at the big things.
Well,
and we've talked about that before.
Well, it's also knowing that the conversation you're setting up now gives the freedom for them to come and talk to you later about the thing that they're really struggling with. Because, like, today, and I'm not saying this is not like tooting our own horn, but Livy had an uncomfortable situation in the bathroom. Like, girls were playing hot to go in the bathroom, and she just felt awkward. And she's like, Dad, I kind of walked away. And I'm like, cool. Like,
perfect.
Like, those are the things that I'm just like, if I parented poorly, she would have never. I'm like, you good? Like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, and to your point about like the kids in the hockey ring, it's just like, are we good? You know what I mean? Like, so I think you guys handled it awesome.
We'll see. It's one of those things that, good news, he's 9 and change, and this is the first time I've had to deal with that, something like that.
Yeah,
so
we've had to.
I can't imagine it's.
Well, they're gonna push, and they're gonna see where the weak spots are, and that's just what kids do. Yeah. That's their thing. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We'll drink the last pour, and then I have a story.
Yeah, love it. Oh shit, I gotta fucking
weak.
Oh whoa!
Yeah, what happens when you
it's
drink
the
it neat.
one I drank the most of because I am the old man having.
It is.
Cheers.
It is rare to go somewhere for you, get 3 completely random bottles that you know nothing about, and have 3 fucking bangers.
Yes,
Like,
this is probably the best.
Like you got 3 bottles in my top 10, right? That's 30%. We're about to come up with a 4th here that's truly unique.
We do know that this isn't a whiskey.
That's right. So this is can't call it tequila because tequila's got to be aged and barreled in Jalisco. This is tequila juice, so it's like an agave spirit that is finished in bourbon barrels and aged 27 months.
This
It
stuff
smells awful. It tastes really good.
Yeah,
But it
this is
smells
one of
terrible.
Those things where you out of all of them, what's the proof on this?
115.
This one feels like it.
Yeah.
It feels every bit of the.
So
115.
my biggest peeve against, I love añejo tequilas.
Yep.
You can't find one that's above 90 proof.
No, you can't.
No, they're all 90 proof. Well, no. The Kabbalah had
It was 100 and
100.
Yeah.
I think 102, 105.
Yeah, this is
But that's because it was aged in.
this is
Buffalo
115.
Trace
So it
barrels.
came straight out of the tequila barrels into the whiskey barrels and aged there for 27
nice.
months.
It is definitely number 4 of the. If I had to name these 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really good though.
I will say, don't drink this with the tip of your tongue, because this one, the tip of your tongue is like, it's like
a chewing on a jalapeno.
Well, it feels like you've ever put like a 9-volt battery on it. Like that's like
Are we having a dad podcast here? Are we having
a kids podcast.
Debating, calculating.
So one of the things I enjoy about like a good tequila.
I have a very singular analogy to that. Deciding whether to put it on the camera or not.
One of the things
That might be an off-camera thing.
one of the things that I enjoy about a good tequila or a high-quality tequila is the thickness of it.
Agreed.
This is thin. This is really thin.
Maybe it's because I drank it neat, and everything else was a little bit.
Oh my God, you're coughing?
I haven't even tried it yet.
Fuck me. If Brian's coughing, it is good though.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is good.
It was really
But
good.
it when you crank, I think now that I've had a really high proof tequila, agave spirit, I think I appreciate the 80% more. You pick up more flavors. You get more stuff because you get less. You get less sting. You get the hiccups. That's what you get. It is good though.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave last story, and I want to hear y'all's thought on this.
No.
And then we'll close out the podcast with you should like, subscribe, and we're back. That's
Yeah,
all I
baby.
need to know. So Livy, at the beginning of the podcast, we tried to hide our kids' names, and we're just
We fucked that up like
fucked it
halfway
up
through
real bad.
episode 1. So
Livy loves writing. Like, I am trying to
writing like
like
books, like stories.
Like,
okay,
she's working on a chapter book right
good
now.
for her. That's
Which
fantastic.
her chapters are
But you've always said that she's artsy.
Yeah, 100%. Although I went to this kid's school today and saw some drawings at other kids, and I was like, Livy is a good drawer, but I'm like, if you can tap into this skill of like writing, and like, go for it, girl.
That's cool.
And so, like, to the point.
AI, ChatGPT, you're not going to do any of that anymore.
Well, fiction.
Right? Tell me a story about this, and it's like,
But
you can tell if you can tell.
You can kind of tell though.
Well, here's
now.
Now.
A year from now,
Yeah,
not
right.
a chance.
But here's the thing about that is I think we're going to hit, and then we'll go back in the story. I think we're going to hit like from a creative standpoint, I think we're going to hit lawsuits like we did in Napster. Like it's about who owns the content. Like, so the content that they scan, like that's what's going to come in the courts in the next 5 years.
Funny you said that because I just got an email from the publisher I co-wrote a book, a textbook, a couple years ago, and we got a letter from the publisher and it says, "Listen, we got approached by somebody who wants to train their L&M on more specialty stuff. So they came to us and they said, can we scan all of your books? We're asking permission for you. It's a way to give us extra 10 cents of royalty, whatever it is. But
retirement money.
Yeah, at 10 cents at a time.
I think you're gonna see like what's happening there is big AI companies are shopping for databases that they can train other AI.
Well, and so they don't get sued. They're going to ask you for permission to copy your stuff.
Correct.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, and I mean, there's already lawsuits about that happening currently. But to go back to like the writing side of Olivia, we found out she was writing quite a dark story. Like
That's awesome.
The mother was like killed. Like there was a demon and like
Your kid's writing the next Saw.
like,
Saw 7.
Or 50 Shades.
No, let's go Saw. Let's go Saw. It's her die. It's daughter.
Well, she is our next Akatar. And as parents, like we're like we control what she watches for the most part because our kids have struggled with nightmares and night terror. So we're like, you're not watching, like they have a thing with wolves. Like we're not watching movies that have like wolves in it. And like
Not even Dances with Wolves.
no, they're not gonna watch a 3.5. I had to watch a 3.5 film of Dancing with the Wolves for film studies classes.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good movie. I liked it. Anyway,
It's 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But we were like, where the hell is this coming from? And it was coming from YouTube. And our first reaction was
Lock that shit down.
like, lock it down.
Yeah.
Well, and
But that's not the right answer. Yeah.
also like, is she hiding this from us? Like, she was like, we read it. Like, she dropped the paper next to me, and I just read it, and I was like, holy shit, this is like Slender Man, Saw, like.
but is it good though?
Yeah. Can we sell it?
Here, I keep telling her to type it up so I can. What I want to do is surprise her and like publish the book. Like,
Oh, that'd be so cool for
like
Christmas.
Amazon. Yep. But
That's your name on it.
yeah, like
Very cool. You can illustrate it?
No,
Cooper likes to draw. He can illustrate
yeah,
it.
well, she does too. Like we can all.
Right.
Hey, hell, we'll just create a little franchise.
Right.
I'm always about the next business idea, you know. But like to your
I got
point,
a cousin that owns a publishing
like,
company. She can help you out.
I know a guy.
I was scared that she was hiding, like almost a little bit like what your scenario was. Like, is she hiding this as thinking that we would like? And so I like one day I was like, she showed me her notebook, and I was like, oh, what is that?
Where
Like,
did that character come from?
like, it's actually we were going to the dentist. I remember it now, and I was like, hey, tell me a little bit about the book you're writing. And she just told me everything that I read, and I'm like, okay, she's not ashamed. She's not hiding it. This is a creative outlet for her. Yes, it's dark, but it's not dark in the way of like, she hasn't seen anything that's like emotionally scarring as a child.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like she saw some YouTuber play out a skit that wasn't bad, but alluding to the mother died and it changed the life of
Oh, you mean Bambi?
yeah, correct. And so
many inappropriate Disney movies.
yeah,
So many.
like 100%. And so it's funny because as I was thinking about it, me and Aaron were talking about it, our parents would have just snapped that shit out of, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to toot our horn, but it's just fascinating that you get these experiences as a parent as you're like to your point, like, holy shit, what am I gonna do about the scenario? And
totally get it. Sidebar, I didn't taste this as one of the barrels. This was in the lobby as I was going out. I asked for a taste of it, said, like the idea of a high volume tequila. Not nearly as fan as I am of the bourbons. or the
No,
whiskey season.
it's good. I do like it, but I understand now why I like so many tequilas that are
Thicker.
80, 90, thicker,
Yeah.
thicker, more.
Yeah,
More.
But that would be thinner, right? Because that means they add water to it to get it down. To that.
No, I think it was what
They
happens is they add more sugar, or
I don't know what it is, but like
down.
it has more of like a
This is more medicinal than I remember it the first
So,
time
like,
I tasted it.
whatever they cut it with. When you have a high alcohol content of something and you spin it in a glass, it comes off real quick. But if you have something that's like
Sugary.
or whatever,
I'm going to down this because I don't want to drink it anymore.
Well, what's funny is to hear you.
I actually don't mind it. I would like to.
Yeah.
Tequila. That's your new tequila mixer, huh? You're gonna put that with some
I don't think
tahini on the
This
on
is
the top?
probably the best haul we've ever had. First of all, we don't usually drink 4 drinks.
Oh, yeah.
And
We started with 2. We went to 3. We're like,
We're like, if we go to 3, the conversation's
4.
going to go off the rails.
Now we're at 4.
Sorry.
No, this is.
Do you hear that? Coyote.
Oh, that's coyotes. But let's be.
What I'll do is put some sound design. Coyotes. They ain't hearing that.
You don't think it's picking that up?
No, it's two directional. It's bad.
Okay. No, your mic ain't picking that up at all. I missed you guys.
Yeah.
It's been when did we record last? It's been a long fucking
February, March.
That can't be right, can it?
Yeah,
it
no,
can be.
that is right.
That's like 6 months.
That is right because someone over here got a lucrative contract with somebody that everyone else in the whole world knows, and he tied up all his time, and here we are.
I have no time.
giving flu shots to people.
Okay, first of all, who are the only 2 people that have doctorates at this table?
Don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know who
who barely has a bachelor's in art.
Dude, I've been so fucking busy the last couple of weeks. I've been all over. All these people, all these old folks need flu shots and COVID shots, and I've been giving it to them.
Well, what's funny is when school starts. I mean, let's just be honest. Like when we go into summer, it's like
they just stop.
Yeah.
The coyotes bark like crazy and then stop. Anyway, sorry.
That's because they killed their prey and they're eating now.
or
dead.
they
some
stop
neighborhood cat is dead.
It's dead. Sorry, guys.
Anyway, you were saying what when school
No,
starts?
I feel like as we get into the end of school, like we lose all routine.
Oh,
I feel once we get in school, we get the routine back.
No, I agree with you.
Summer was a fucking...
you mean like summer is just
Well, as
fucking
soon as we
chaotic.
started getting towards the end of the school year,
That-
I feel like we're prepping
Oh, yeah.
mentally. Like
Yeah, for
hockey's done,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like
Free
swim and swimming.
Yeah.
Like we're in that lull season of just like
Yeah, end of school is busy. Then summer starts and we all travel. Like that's the only time we have to go somewhere. And then like that last 3 weeks before school starts, it's like we have to get everything in. And then that sucks because Kirsty goes back to school super early.
Yeah.
Like all the teachers come back and teachers were back in the middle of end of July. Kids were back like right at the beginning of August.
like
It's
the
too
2nd
soon.
of August. Well,
too
what's
soon.
funny is I don't know if you guys feel this from a work perspective, but it feels like end of summer is like, all right, let's put the foot on the gas and like do all the work shit to get done Q3 and Q4.
Yeah, my business is heavily weighted on Q4, and yeah, when Q3, that's when people start to panic. They're like, hey,
Yes.
we're behind, so we can pick shit up by the time.
Mine flows with the October's always my busiest because I'm doing flu shots.
Well, that would be the end of
and
Q.
that's like we're getting everyone prepped for flu season. So I've been out. Like I've been in Louisville. I spent fucking 6 days in Louisville.
Holy
Well,
crap.
went up there for a college visit.
Oh.
Did a couple college visits. Then had a swim meet. And then I had my whole team come up and meet me. And then we did a bunch. Like I coordinated all that, so I didn't have to drive back and forth.
There's some decent bourbon up there.
What's that?
There's some decent bourbon up there.
There is, but everyone loves it up there, so it's hard to find. You got to go to like California, where everyone drinks wine, and
they
they
get
get the bourbon because
I
there's
went-
money there.
And we were in California. One of Abby's best friends had a baby, and we went up there and visited. And I saw a bottle. It was a liter of Elijah Toasted for like $25. It's like,
Dude,
Fuck, really? Because I'm getting a
fuck people.
$7.50 for
Like,
because
$59.
I go to the
Oh, dude,
distillery
I'm going
where
to
they make it, and I can't buy it.
I'm going
No.
to California in November. Man, I need to.
Bro, I'm
carry-
gonna send you
Total
some
wine.
money.
Like,
Yeah.
Total Wine.
That's
You
right.
can find Eagle Rare. You can find Buffalo Trace,
Well,
Wellers.
they don't have,
like,
they don't
all
have a
those-
wide variety of shit.
So that
But-
barrel dovetail barrel, one of the barrel ones that they have down here.
There's seagrass.
So there's seagrass. I think it's dovetails.
you're right.
I'm gonna send you with some money if you can find them because goddamn they're expensive around here. I had dovetail at there's a little restaurant that was selling it in Jackson, Tennessee. Bro, I could drink that like a juice.
Here's you said that there's not a big selection in California. That's true, but they have all the things that are so
The
fucking
staples
hard
for
are
cheap.
to find. Like Eagle Rare, Wellers, Buffalo Trace is easy to find now. Like it feels like they've caught up since COVID, but like it is so like Wellers is still so hard to find. And you go to California and you're like, cool, let me get six.
Yeah, we
If
get
you
six
get a
for
Weller Red for me,
six-pack.
I'll send you some.
Oh,
money.
dude, if I find
Antique.
a Rello
The red is the
Red,
antique, right?
I like
all
that
three.
107. That's a good one.
Okay,
That's my favorite one.
you are our end of.
Smash, like, subscribe, follow us on the socials, share us, be our friends. Hey, I sent you guys the data, right, of who follows us the most.
fucking chicks. Love you, girls.
30 to 40-year-old females. We love you. I mean, we're married to you.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, thank you. Really,
Yeah.
thank you.
Also,
Appreciate it.
Also,
Share it with your.
let's be real about some of the reasons why we're as seldom here as possible. If you enjoy just audio, let us know because we got somebody right here who just won't do audio because he's like, listen, I got a really badass camera. That's all. And to be fair, the reason we're here is because like, yo, I got a really badass camera.
That's how the whole thing started. Remember episode 1? This is episode 4.
Yeah.
So you should remember episode 1. And that was a year ago.
We're trying to convince him to kind of do a dual boot here, right? You can do some stuff, but to save yourself some editing time, just freaking.
Hey,
release audio.
I will say that tonight because we pre-poured, like
This is gonna be easy.
out. I'm not even gonna do multicam. It's just gonna be this one shot the whole damn time.
Sold.
I'm and
Boom.
like, I'll
You're
do
welcome.
it
Put it
tomorrow.
up.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
You're welcome.
No, but we're gonna
All the
we're
things.
gonna get back into this habit. I remember I went out to California and I met with some people that I used to work with and I told them about this and they're like, dude, I totally want to watch it. So I watched the first like 10 minutes of one of our episodes. And I remember saying on air, I'll move heaven and earth to have our time together.
Right?
We've gone months without it and I'd like to go back to that.
We broke our own rules.
Yeah.
That we said at the beginning. Like men don't talk. And then we had an episode where we talked about movies for an hour.
Yeah.
We didn't
Stop
talk.
that.
And then we didn't talk. And so we're breaking our own rules. We're breaking our own rules.
100%.
But this is our commitment to each other and to you guys that we're going to keep doing this. And there's always stuff to talk about, real stuff to talk about.
Yep.
And we'll do it. We'll give you some more content. And whether it's in video format or audio format, we'll get you there.
Yeah. We might not do 4 pours.
three
We're
is good.
definitely doing 4 pours.
3, and then you get to
This
choose
is the
the
most liquor I've drank. Let's see.
This just sit there.
drunk.
Maybe we'll switch to throw a little beer in there, even though Brian hates beer.
Oh, if you can get me to like beer. So
I can't do beer anymore, and I'll tell you
Bruh.
why.
But what
afterwards.
if we take one bottle and pour it 3 ways?
Sure. I also I got as a gift from a guy that used to work for me. I brought him over to my company currently, and then he's left since then. He's like, I love you anyway, even though this didn't take out. He lives in Portland. He brought me 2 scotches that are made in Portland. And I won't drink that by myself because I'm not a Scotch thing. You're a Scotch thing.
I thought Scotch had to be in Scotland. There's
I'm
rules.
not in a
Anyway.
place right now where I could comment on that. However, it is definitely Scotch-esque more than bourbon whiskey. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
bring it out there.
smash, like, subscribe, share, bring your friends in. Very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
See you next time.
Yeah, man. Smell you.